friends, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Ev, and on this channel we love to talk about knits, whips, yarn acquisitions, and all things fiber related. I'm so happy to have you guys here with me today because today's video, it is all about cotton yarns. And well, not just cotton yarns and cotton blends, because as some of you guys might know, every couple of months my boyfriend's parents come to visit us and stay with us for a while, and they often bring some yarn. This time his mom had asked me which type of yarn I would want, and I basically said some cottons because summer's almost here, at least in Vancouver. It's been 30 degrees all week, which is really, really hot, and I kind of want to stop knitting on wool right now, and I just have the urge to knit up some lovely spring and summer attires. What gave me this idea is actually I was going through and putting away my winter knits, my big old chunky sweaters, and I discovered some of my knits from last year. This is one of my all-time favorite knits. It is camisole number 4 by My Favorite Things, and this was actually knit up in 100% cotton yarn, safran cotton, which is a drops yarn. It worked up really, really nicely, and this was the first time that I used up this yarn. So this wasn't yarn from Turkey, but it is a cotton-based yarn. Now last year when his mom brought me some yarn, she had brought me, it's a mix of cotton and bamboo, and I knit up this cute little tank top. Now this is a cropped tank top. You can always make it a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, whatever floats your boat. And this was the first tank top knit I had ever knit up. And it was a really fun project. And this is what inspired me to then switch to the camisole number 4. This is the Summer Secret crop. And this was knit up with Himalayan bamboo and cotton, which is, we will talk about this a little bit later. This yarn is actually super, super soft, and I love the way the material feels on my skin. So this was my first tank top of last year that I ever knit up. Then the second cotton knit that I knit up was this green tank top. And then after that, I have mentioned this top quite a lot recently. This is the Monica Geller tee. Now again, this is yarn that wasn't bought in Turkey. This is yarn that is bought here. Actually, it was bought on Vancouver Island when I visited last year. This is Noro Kaiagori in their color 1, I believe. And this is the Monica Geller tee. If you guys have watched my most recent video, I am actually reknitting this top, but in a viscose and linen yarn mix. This is one of my favorite knits, and last summer I wore it so much, and this, again, the cotton mix feels really, really great. I think there's silk in here, if I am correct. The final one that I worked up is actually the Tip Top tank, and I knit this in November because I don't know, I got a weird urge to knit up a tank top. Now this is knit up with cotton yarn from Turkey. This is the Gazzal baby organic cotton in 2 colors, and this worked up really, really quickly. I think it took me like a week or a week and a half, and I have actually worn this one. I know the ends are not weaved in, and I have actually been wearing this one quite a lot. It is actually really nice, and the cotton surprisingly is a little bit soft. The most rough one would probably be this one. I don't know if it's the knit pattern, but just the saffron is a little bit more rougher than these other cotton yarns. I highly recommend you guys try a cotton if you want a soft natural fiber. These are some of the tank tops that I knit up last year, and this year I am super excited because I really, really, really want to make more. I want to knit more summer tops, and I just feel the summer knit urge. It's funny, the first year I didn't knit any summer tops. I was still working on wool, which was really hot to work with, and I didn't know, for some weird reason, it didn't click in my mind to use cotton. It didn't click in my mind that you can make summer knits, and knitting is really an all year round hobby. Knitting is actually just like a winter hobby, and it just means big old chunky knits. But in reality, it doesn't. That is something that I learned with you guys as I became a knitter. Let's hop right into the yarn acquisition part, the yarns that I want to talk about with you guys. And as I mentioned, these are all yarns from Turkey except for one. One brand that I had requested is the brand Deluxe Bamboo Himalayan. I've talked about this yarn before quite often actually, because it is a combination. It is 60% bamboo and 40% cotton. This yarn is super, super soft, and it is actually the yarn that was used to knit up this tank top. This is where I fell in love with it because do you see how drapey and loose it is? I'm pretty sure that that is the bamboo that is causing that, as in cotton is usually a bit more stiff. And the colors are just really pretty. Oh, I don't know what happened here. They were kind enough to bring me 4 different colors. 2 grays, a light and a dark, and 2 blues, a light and a dark. And this is the first time that I was using a bamboo yarn last year, and knitting up the tank top and the way the fabric, it just feels a little bit more luxurious when you have a bamboo yarn. So this is why I heavily requested this one, and most of the skeins that they brought me are these yarns. This is 100 gram, runs 250 meters or 273 yarns. So it is a pretty decent amount of yarn, and I actually was going to knit up this tank top originally with the darker gray, but because this pattern was a little bit more tricky and advanced for me at the time, I got really frustrated and I just decided to completely change yarns. I had unraveled it so much that to me a change of yarn would be like a completely different project, and it would just reset my mojo and my mood instead of unraveling the same project over and over with the same yarn. Sometimes just changing yarn it's basically like restarting from scratch, and it's like a completely different experience, and it kind of pushed me to finish it. So here are some patterns that I think would fit this yarn perfectly, and some patterns that I actually want to knit up with this yarn. First off, I have 2 sets. My favorite things knitwear's tank top and short set. I think the tank top is tank top number 6 and the shorts are shorts number 1. If I was to do this in like the shorts in a navy blue and the tank top in a light blue, or the shorts in this darker gray and the tank top in this lighter gray, that would look amazing. It would be super cute and like a monochrome type of color. The only thing is this pattern is sold separately. So you have to buy the tank top and you have to buy the shorts. There is no bundle for them. But I do feel like these are both super fun combination pieces that you can just throw on and like have a little sweater over, or an open vest on, and just like go outside, and it looks super casual but still elegant, and I think that the bamboo would work amazingly with that. Now the shorts do take up a little bit more yarn because I guess it's a bigger area to cover than a top, so it does take up about 1,000 yards. I've never actually seen shorts knit up in bamboo, and I do wonder if it is an appropriate yarn to use around that area since you're sitting and rubbing down, or if it would cause more of an issue. That is something we can look into, but I do think that having a cute little set in the same monochrome color would be super adorable. The top only uses about 500 yards. For the shorts, I do like that it does have an elastic incorporated in the waist, and I love the fact that the rib continues around the elastic, so it kind of does like a seamless look, but at the same time you still have that little singeing that is really, really flattering with the rib. So I think that that is a beautiful design to be added. The next set that I actually want to mention and that I think would work really well, kind of like my favorite things, but not necessarily. It is actually a pattern combo that was released earlier in the spring, and it is the tan shorts by Helga Isager, like the yarn Isager yarn. Now the fun thing about this one is it's a little bit more casual, more pajama style. It doesn't have the ribbed all around on the tank top and the shorts, but I do love the simple design here in the front, and just the whole how it follows along on the side of the hips as well. I think that that is a really cute design to incorporate in this tank top and these shorts. But the fun thing about this one is that the patterns come together, so it is a bundle buy. So you get the pattern design for the tank top with the shorts, and I honestly think that that is super great. You can knit up the short, you can knit up the tank top, you can do both together if you want, and I love that. Now this is a lace weight. It calls for a little smaller needles. I do love the way that the waistband is incorporated in the knit. You don't really see it. It is seamless, and just the fit of the shorts are really, really nice. In their example, the yarn suggestion is actually a cotton, rayon, bamboo, and linen. So this is why I think that this cotton bamboo would work splendidly for that, because the pattern was originally designed with a lighter summer yarn weight in mind. Another one, again, by my favorite things, is camisole number 7. I just love this design so much, and I love that diamonds going on around here. It's a really beautiful design, and it looks so casual yet elegant at the same time. This one actually uses a little bit more yarn because a longer, wider tank top, and it is a knit design that is a little bit more intricate. So it uses about 700 meters of yarn. Again, I feel like a nice cotton bamboo would work amazing for this. Most of these tank tops that I will be talking about, I feel like bamboo would work beautifully for, because bamboo and cotton, the fun thing about it is it has very good stitch definition, so you can really see each knit, each purl, and how they work together. The next pattern that I want to talk about is this one, another pattern that is kind of like a set, like a duo. It is the Ingrid top and the Ingrid summer sweater. Now these both have the same design. One of them is a long sleeve with a drop shoulder, and the other one is just a regular tank top. I feel like those both look super cute because how cotton allows for great stitch definition. I would actually really knit this up with a cotton yarn, and I have a few of these. This is the Gizza matte cotton by Gazzal. This is a Turkish yarn. On most of these skeins, the packaging did get a little bit ruined in the trip, but that is fine. I can still read it. Of course, depending on how much yarn you have and if you want to make it a long sleeve or a short sleeve, it depends which one you would choose, but I actually love the little holey design and that it is knit up with a sport weight yarn, so it's going to be a little bit quicker of a knit because it requires a little thicker needles. I think I would be able to knit this top, not the long sleeve, but I would be able to knit up the top in these lovely white skeins that I have. And I think that if you want to start getting into lace work, this is probably a pattern that is just for you. Something simple, like repetitive, but at the same time, it's not a very intricate, complicated like leaf design or something that'll just demotivate you as a knitter. Now this one is rated as an average difficulty, so that is perfect for beginners, but intermediate beginners, maybe not like beginner. I wouldn't start this as my first pattern. You know, again, this is completely subjective and what you think. Sometimes I might think a pattern is very easy and you might find it very hard, or you might find a pattern very easy and I might find it very hard. But I feel like these two would be a beautiful duo, especially knit up in white. I also wanted to share some gorgeous, lovely dresses with you guys. I have two. The first dress that I wanted to share is actually the Daphne button-up dress, and I have some more cotton Gizza matte from Gazzal. This is a lovely green. I've talked about this quite some time, and I have mentioned before that I wanted to knit up a dress with these. I have about 5 skeins of these, and again, these run 250 meters. For the Daphne dress, I should totally have enough yarn, and I think that this would be an adorable design to knit up in a lovely green cotton. I love that it's a nice long length just above the knee, but with the buttons, it does allow, you can open up the buttons and just have a little bit of your leg showing, but still be classy and nice, and it just feels like it would be super light and just nice to have on your summer trips or summer getaways. This pattern is knit up with 2.75 millimeters and 3.25 millimeter needles, so it is another sport weight knit, so it should be kind of quick, but because it is a dress, it'll take pretty much, if I start it now, I wonder how long that would take, if it would take all summer. This is a dress knit up and designed by Friday Knits, and if you guys haven't checked her out, I highly recommend you do. She has some lovely, amazing, cute, I really like her style and her aesthetic. This pattern was knit up with a cotton bamboo yarn, so I do believe that this would be a perfect pattern to knit up with your cotton mixes, cotton blends. The other dress I wanted to talk to you guys about is actually the Winona dress. This one actually uses up a bulky weight, a cotton, rayon, and linen mix, but currently I do not own any bulky cotton yarns. I don't have a yarn here that I can recommend for it, but I highly suggest you guys check out this pattern. It is a little more simple of a design than the button-down dress. The Winona dress is a pattern knit design by Sari Norland. I just love how this is a long up to the calf knit, and it is a loose flowy dress that is again perfect for summer days or going out maybe in the spring, also with like a little warm coat. This pattern is knit up on 4.5 and 4.5 millimeter needles. What I really like about this pattern is the fact that it is a seamless top down knit, so it is knit in the round till you get to the part where there is the slit, then you do the back and forth knitting. Of course, it does depend if you do prefer to do back and forth knitting. The Winona dress is a in the round knit, as in the button down dress is a back and forth knit with some body shaping. I do think that both these dresses are stunning, and they can both be knit up to, if you have enough yarn, you can knit up the button one a lot longer, and I'm sure that the Winona dress you can also shorten it up a little bit to your preferred length. So I think that these patterns are both timeless and beautiful pattern designs. So I also do have this Gazzal Gizza matte in this foresty green color. I think I have 2 skeins of these and they run 250 meters, so that's 500 yards. So I would either have to knit up another one of these tank tops with it, which I could do, or this tank top actually. This one used up about 500 and that one used up a little bit less. That's probably what I'm gonna do with this actually. And the final yarn that they brought me from Turkey is actually this cute little 100% bamboo. This is a German yarn. I've never actually seen this yarn. It is Schaehenmayr catania yarn. This runs 50 grams, is 125 meters. She did bring me, I think, 5 or 6 of these mini skeins, which are really cute and adorable. I think I would also make a tank top. My goal right now for the summer is to knit a lot of tank tops and some dresses. Some more patterns that I wanted to share with you guys and talk to you guys about that I think would be perfect for the summer and perfect to pair cotton yarns with are actually the peacock tee by Lena Holmes is knit up with worsted weight, so it is again a thicker yarn weight, so it calls for 3 millimeters and 4 millimeter needles, and it is worked in a top down round yoke, which I find pleasant and fun to do with. And again, if this is one of your first projects where you want to do lace, I think that this is a good project to start off. A project that has just like a round yoke or a small piece of lace work is a lot easier to manage and to get into than to completely jump into a full lace work design, because those can be really intimidating. And I just love the detail of the lace work that was chosen for this collar. Again, with the rib, it just works together really seamless. And I'm not too sure about the sleeve length. I don't typically like my sleeves to go down to the mid arm. I would probably make this sleeve a little bit shorter. I prefer my sleeves to actually be fully length sleeve or more like a t-shirt sleeve. This pattern does claim it is a combination of purl stitches and lace work. So again, it is not a full lace design. It is like a mix and match. So this would be perfect to like dip your toes and just see if lace work is for you. The next top I want to talk to you guys about is a very interesting looking design. And I feel like this one just, again, screams out beachwear and just looks relaxing. And I feel like you could wear this at like your cottage or just be comfy and cozy. And it is the Tide Loop Tee by Other Loops. So it is a mixture of knits and purls to create these beautiful kind of tide wave lines. So it is worked with the back and then the front, and then you join those two together, and then you knit the body and the round, and then attach and work on the shoulders. So it is a typical top-down t-shirt design. Some really nice repetition of the waves throughout the whole design, which I find really unique and pretty. It's a different way to do like a rib knit, except that the majority on the outside is the purls, and then on the inside to do the waves, it is the knit. Now this pattern does call for a little bit more yarn. It calls for 1100 yards to 1700 yards to its biggest size. It does go all the way to XL sizing, and it is a loose oversized size. I just love how casual this looks, and especially in this cream color. If I were to knit it, I would possibly knit it in about the same color. Now, the next pattern I want to talk to you guys about is a little bit more of an advanced design. It is actually this Faye summer top by Irene Lin, and I think this one is adorable, and I just love the attention to detail in this design. I love the work of the cables and then the knit rows. This is knit up on a DK weight yarn, so it calls for 4.5 millimeters to 5 millimeters, and it is about 1,000 yards to 13,000 yards. So this shirt calls for less yarn than the wave shirt. It does have a little bit more of intricate design just because of the fact that you have the lace in the center and on the side of the sleeves, and then you have cable work, and then there's a bunch of knit and purls. So it's a little bit more advanced, and then there's the ruffle of the sleeve. That is a really nice touch. I love that this whole design doesn't finish off or start off with ribs. It is actually a switch between a knit and a purl rows to kind of create that like border effect and make sure that the stitches don't curl. I find that is a really unique and nice touch that we don't really see that often. Perfect top to be wearing with a skirt, and I actually really want to cast this one on. I think that if I was to cast it on, I would potentially go with like a cream color like this. Now this yarn is a little bit too thin for this pattern design. This is a fingering yarn, but this is the last cotton yarn combo that I have, this one is actually an alpaca combo mix. So it is a lot more droopy, a lot more loose than the cotton bamboo ones. This yarn is a lot softer as well, but I'm pretty sure that that is because of the alpaca. The alpaca is what allows it to drape more, allows it to have a bit more softness. Now this is the Illimani sabri yarn. If you guys haven't checked out this yarn, sabri, I highly recommend you do. They have, my local yarn shop has this brand, has a few different types of their yarn, and their yarn colors are amazing, and the textures and softness is just beautiful. This company mainly has alpaca yarn and alpaca blends. They have alpaca cashmere, alpaca cotton, alpaca silk. They have different types of alpaca yarn, but their yarn combinations and colors are just beautiful. This yarn runs about 437 yards and 400 meters per skein. They have a whole collection set where it is just the natural alpaca colors. So this is one of them. This is two colors held together. This is a lighter alpaca with a more cream caramel brown. This is one of my favorite skeins, and I'm so scared to break into it and start knitting it because it is just so pretty. If I were to knit up this top, I would knit it in a color exactly like this. I might go and try to get a thicker version of this yarn, or maybe hold this one double. I think that that would be perfect for this top. The next top that I want to share with you guys is possibly one of my favorite ones. It is a pattern that is similar to this one, but it is actually the Umbria summer top. So what I mean by when I say a pattern similar to this one, I mean that it has the two knit rows, knit and purl rows across. I forget what this is called. This is a cardigan style top with buttons down the center, and I find that this is super adorable. It's a really refreshing look. I just love the way that the collar folds. It kind of gives like a polo vibe, like, you know, the polo, is it polo shirt? Where there's the collar or the crew neck. This pattern takes up 800 meters to 1360 meters, and I could potentially knit this up in my whatever color cotton I don't use for my short and tank top. I will most likely knit up this top in a bamboo cotton mix. This pattern again was worked up with a cotton and rayon mix, the original design, so it would fit perfectly with this cotton yarn. It is worked top down in a raglan technique, so you work up the sleeve as you work up the body, but it is knit back and forth because of the band, so you can't knit this one in the round. This pattern does require German short rows, so it's a little bit more tricky if you haven't done those before, but there are so many videos online on German short rows. Once you get the hang of it, it is a really simple technique that adds a lot of beauty to your work. So the Umbria summer top, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, is a Cookie the Knitter design, which is the most adorable name ever. In my spring and summer top list, I did mention these two patterns, but I just want to mention them again really quickly. So I'm not going to go too much into detail about that. If you guys haven't checked that out, my spring pattern recommendation video, I highly recommend you do. These are two patterns that I did discuss and I think would work perfect with cotton yarn. The first one is the Pearl Soho top. This is a garter stitch design, and I think that garter stitch works amazing with cotton. The pattern was actually originally designed with a cotton alpaca yarn, so a yarn similar to this one, where it does still have flimsy, but it is more of a structural and light, airy yarn. Pattern is worked up as a worsted weight design, so it takes up about 1,000 meters, 1,000 yards to 2,100 yards, but I think that this is just such a clean, simple look, and garter stitch is a design that I am learning to appreciate recently. I feel like I've kind of just like dismissed it because it is one of the first designs that you learn as a knitter. I've just pushed it away being like, that's such a beginner idea, that I stepped away and tried to avoid it all the time, that now knitting it up again, especially with the cardigan that I'm working on right now, my beautiful right angle cardigan, I'm learning to appreciate garter stitch again. And it's not just for beginners. It's a beautiful stitch that is nice and easy to work up and allows for great texture. Design that I mentioned in my previous video that I'm going to mention again because I think would work perfect for cotton yarn. It is actually the Rota jumper by Irene Lin. Now, last time I mentioned this, a few of you guys actually told me that you were knitting this up or that you had, and it was a super pleasant knit. So this is a pattern design that I highly suggest all of you guys check out. And again, the original design was actually knit up with a cotton, and it was 94% cotton and 9% nylon yarn. It's a little bit more thick of a yarn weight. It is an Aran weight design, so it calls for 5mm and 4mm needles. This design is just such an airy, classic, beautiful look that is worked up just like a regular dropped shoulder t-shirt or sweater. But I just love the way that this design looks and how chunky and heavy the design looks. So what you could actually do is knit up a cute little tank top and then over it wear the Rota jumper, and then wear knitted socks, and then have a knitted hat, and then have a knitted jacket, and then have knitted shorts, and just be a whole knit. Oh my God, I'm gonna do that. I will see you guys next year when I get all that done. So these are the cotton yarns and cotton designs that I highly recommend you guys all check out, because I am switching over to cotton. I am switching over to linen and viscose and bamboo, and I am just going into the plant direction for my next few yarn projects. Now I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the My Favorite Things set or the Isager set just yet. I think I'm gonna decide a little bit later. And I want to knit up a dress, a cotton dress, preferably with this beautiful Gizza mat, and then have a tank top or two done. Is that a little ambitious? Does that seem like too much? I often put up so many project ideas in my mind that I want to knit up. As the summer goes on, I'm sure more patterns and designs will be released, so these might change up a little bit. But yeah, please let me know if you guys have knit any of these designs or patterns in the comment section down below. Let me know if you have any suggestions, because we can all share pattern ideas. But if you guys would be interested in knitting any of these patterns, let me know in the description down below. Maybe we can cast it on at the same time and knit it all together. So thank you guys so much for watching. This was a lot of fun, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye. Oh no. Ah! Okay, can you tell the difference? This one and this one? They're the different lots. I couldn't tell last night. This one also feels a little softer. Well, this is why they say get the same lot, get as much yarn as you can for your project instead of reordering, because